Hello children, welcome back to my talks. Again standard 11th English, okay, and we are doing snapshot, the supplementary reader, and here we are with 5th chapter, Mother's Day. Okay children, now Mother's Day, mothers normally in the houses are taken for granted, okay, and especially if the mother is a housewife, okay, because each member of the family, either it is a husband or son or daughter, okay, everybody has lots of expectations from her, and normally what happens that the lady of the house, she feels happy to suffice to the needs of all the members of the family. So this particular chapter deals with that, Mother's Day. Okay, so let us begin, and the author of this particular story is J.B. Priestley. Okay, so let's start with the summary. Mother's Day is a hilarious drawing room comedy by J.B. Priestley. Okay, hilarious, something which makes you laugh. Okay, raises a serious issue and deals with it in a humorous manner. Okay, hasi mazak mein it comes to a very serious term. It deals with a very serious situation that the ladies are taken for granted, the mothers are taken for granted. And this is not to make fun of anybody, okay, but to draw the attention of the people towards this issue. Now this is a play, this is a drama, okay, and this centers around Mrs. Annie Pearson, a devoted wife and a doting mother. Pearson, Mrs. Pearson, is a wife and a mother of 2 kids. Okay, she is pleasant and a worried looking woman in her 40s. Age is around 40, and her looks are all pleasant. And there's a daughter who is neighbor, Mrs. Fizzleland. Fizzleland is their neighbor, and it's a fortune teller also. She's a fortune teller. वो जो हाथ वाथ देखते हैं, जो किस्मत बताते हैं कि आने वाले टाइम में क्या होना है. So Mrs. Fizzleland is the neighbor and a fortune teller also. She tells Mrs. Pearson to make up her mind and assert herself if she wants to be the mistress of her own house. So one day both of them meet, because in the story it is like that. So Pearson tells Mrs. Fizzleland, okay, that I'm being taken for granted, and Mrs. Fizzleland asks her that, do you want to be the mistress of the house? Do you want to be treated respectably? Okay, so if you want to be the boss in your family and be treated with respect, okay, do what I tell you. And Mrs. Pearson is somewhat reduced to a status of unpaid domestic servant. That is the word used. Okay, who does all the domestic works, all the works of the house. Okay, without being requested. Even people don't ask her to do the children, the husband, but still out of love she does it. Okay, and in return nobody even thanks her. So she is always taken for granted and ordered. Children as well order her mother. Okay, that you will see when you read the story. So Mrs. Fizzleland tells her that husbands, sons and daughters should take the notice of wives and mothers. Yes, she makes her understand that it is the duty of the husband and the children to take care of the mother, to respect her, excuse me, to respect her, and to give her due respect for all the works which she does even without telling. Okay, and they must not be giving orders and treating her like a dirt. Okay, so Pearson understands everything, and she tells that she is very fond of her husband and children, and yes, they are thoughtless and they are selfish, but she can't help it. After all, they are hers and nothing can be done. So she tries her best to have it out with them, but does not know how to begin. Okay, she tells her that I want them to understand that they should treat me with love, but I don't know how to make them understand. So she wants to get tea things ready, okay, as the members of her family are about to drop in. This is somewhat evening time. So she wants to get the tea and the evening snack ready, so that the children and the husband comes, they don't have any complaints. They would, as soon as they enter, they will get everything. Mrs. Fizzleland asks her to let them wait for or look after themselves for once. So Mrs. Fizzleland, she tells her that you leave it for today and let them do it for themselves. Only then they will understand the importance of your work. Okay. So since Mrs. Pearson is too soft towards her family, normally mothers are like that. Okay. So Mrs. Fizzleland offers a way out. So it is difficult for Mrs. Pearson to behave in that particular way with her family members, because all these days she had been very polite, very loving with them. So how can she go and tell them all at once that you go and prepare tea for yourself? So it will be difficult. So Mrs. Fizzleland, okay, again has a way, and she tells that let us change our personalities. Okay. For a short duration. For a short duration, you become Mrs. Pearson and Mrs. Fizzleland will become Mrs. Pearson and Pearson will become Mrs. Fizzleland. And this Mrs. Fizzleland, she will deal with Pearson's husband and children and make them understand. Okay, so that is what is there. So Mrs. Pearson is doubtful about the success of the plan. She is doubting whether the plan would succeed or not. Okay, but agrees that okay, let us change our personalities. So with the help of some magic spell that is there in the book, okay, in the East they have that magic spell, and Mrs. Fizzleland, okay, carries out an interchange of personalities. So the personalities are changed, and now Mrs. Pearson, having the personality of a neighbor, okay, becomes bold and dominating, and Mrs. Fizzleland is nervous and fluttering. So both of them, the basic characteristic is changed. Okay, Pearson becomes very bold and dominating, and Fizzleland, the neighbor, becomes nervous. Okay, so that sort of person. So Doris Pearson is the daughter of Mrs. Pearson. Okay, she's a pretty girl and she's in her 20s. And she is the first to face the cool and incisive mother. Okay, so she is the one who comes on the stage and faces the new mother. Okay, the changed mother, you can say. So as usual, Doris is a spoiled girl, okay, and she asks her mother about her yellow silk dress, and Mrs. Pearson keeps on smoking. So Mrs. Pearson, now she'll behave like Fizzleland, so she is smoking. So Doris is all surprised to see her mother like that, and she asks if they are having tea in the kitchen. Okay, so asks for the tea, and Mrs. Pearson tells her politely to have it wherever she likes. So she asks that can we have tea in the kitchen? So Pearson says have it wherever you like, and Doris angrily asks her if it isn't ready. Okay, so then the question comes that is the tea ready? She's angry, and Mrs. Pearson tells her that she has had what she wanted. So Pearson tells her that I have already prepared my tea, I have had also, now you think about yours. Okay, so she is surprised. Who is surprised? Okay, Doris, the daughter, is surprised at this remark of her mother. Okay, and that she might go out later and get a square meal at Clarendon. Then the mother says that I'll go out and I'll go and have a meal. So when Doris angrily asks her mother again when she has ironed her yellow dress or not, because the daughter had asked her mother to iron her yellow silk dress, and again she inquires whether the dress is pressed or not. And Mrs. Pearson tells that she puts in twice the hours she does and gets no wages or thanks. So again she tells her that I'm working more than what you people do and I don't get any salary for that. I don't get any wages for that. Okay, and she criticizes her boyfriend also. Okay, and boyfriend's name is Charlie Spence. Okay, for having buck teeth, the teeth which is extruding out. So she starts criticizing Doris's boyfriend, okay, and half-witted, she tells Doris frankly that at her age she would have found somebody better than Charlie Spence. She also tells her daughter that at your age, if I would have been at your age, I would have a better boyfriend than your boyfriend. Okay, so that is little too much, but still. So now it was turn of Cyril Pearson, the son. Okay, he is also a spoiled brat who asked for tea as soon as he enters. As soon as he enters the house, he orders for tea. Okay, he inquires for tea. And since he was busy that night, he asked his mother if she has put his things out. Okay, so he was going out that night and he asked his mother whether she has packed his things. And he reminds her of a promise He also tells her that you had promised mom to do all that, and have you done it? She tells him that she doesn't like mending. Okay, so she says that I don't like mending and I'm not going to do. He objects to her talking like that. So the children are not used to their mother talking in that particular tone, in that particular way. So he tells her that you cannot talk to me like that. And Mrs. Pearson gives him a bit of a mind. Okay, so says that use your common sense, okay, and talk. And she tells him that they all do talk like that. And she tells, why should me, even you all people talk like that? Okay, in the same manner. And if there is something at home he doesn't want to do, he doesn't do it. So she tells that if you people, you children, your father, if you don't want to do anything, you all don't do it. And if it is something at this workplace, he gets on the union to bar it. Okay, so he says that you go to the bar, you enjoy yourselves, you give time to yourself. Okay, but I don't have any time for myself. And she goes to the kitchen to bring a bottle as she wants to drink. So the mother sits to drink. Okay, so Cyril and Doris goes into a huddle, both the children. Okay, they sit and whisper about the behavior of the mother. They are all surprised. Okay, Doris states that she could not believe her eyes, and children are completely surprised. Okay, the way the mother behaves. And finally the mother talks to her like that she made her cry, and the daughter starts crying. Okay, Cyril asks if she has become slightly crazy. Okay, the son asks the mother if she's become little mad sort of. Why is she behaving like that? Okay, meanwhile Mrs. Pearson comes back and she's carrying a bottle of stout and half-filled glass. Okay, stout, again you can say meat drink or something like that. Okay, and half-filled glass, again wine or whatever the drink as they have it. So Cyril and Doris, they were trying to stop their coughing and giggling. Okay, but Mrs. Pearson regards them with contempt and asks them to behave according to their age. Okay, so they were giggling by seeing their mother, but she tells him that behave according to your age. Okay, and she finds nothing funny in their jokes, and Doris again, she starts crying. Okay, the way the mother has told about her boyfriend, she has not pressed her dress, so she is in tears. She wants to know what they have done, why the mother was behaving like that with them, what was their mistake. Okay, and Mrs. Pearson at once tells them that they have done nothing and they simply come in, ask for something, go out again, and then come back when there's nowhere else to go. Okay, so the mother says, you come home, you ask me whatever you have to, you get it, again you go out, and you come back again when there's nobody there waiting for you. So I'm only there, and you come back when you are not wanted anywhere or when there's no place to go. So Cyril tells her aggressively that he'll find something to eat himself if she won't get tea ready. Okay, so he thinks to emotionally blackmail her, says that if you are not preparing tea, I will get something for myself. Okay, and happily she says, yeah, you can go and help yourself. Okay, and Cyril and Doris say that they have been working all day. Okay, and also done her 8 hours. So the children tell their mother that they have been working for 8 hours, and the mother says that she has also done her 8 hours. She has completed her 8 hours, and she further says that now it will be 40 hours week for all, and she will have 2 days off at the weekend. So she says, you people are also working like that. Okay, 8 hours, so 8 into 5 is 40. 40 hours for everybody and 2 days rest for me as well. The mother will also not work at the weekends. So George Pearson now enters, the father. So he is a solemn, okay, self-important, pompous, fat-looking man, about 50 years, okay, and he enters. And he sees that the daughter is in tears and the wife is sipping stout, okay. He is again surprised at her behavior, that how can she do that, and informs her that he won't have any tea as there is a special snooker match at night at the club. Okay, and tells his wife that today I'm not going to have tea because we have got a match in the club and we'll have there. So Mrs. Pearson tells that there is no tea. There isn't any tea. There's no tea for you. Okay, and he is surprised to get that particular answer. She also tells him that people laugh at you at the club and call him Pompey Ompy. Okay, she again laughs at her husband. Okay, cuddles him and tells him that do you know what people call you? They call you by different names. They call you Pompey Ompy at the club, okay, because you are slow, so slow, and you are pompous, okay, you are so fat. So George, the husband, was completely horrified, astonished, surprised, okay, and she wants to know why he wants to spend so much time at a place where they're always laughing at him behind his back and calling him name. She also said that I want to know where people call you by names, okay, they laugh at you at your back. So what is it that pulls you to the club, and why do you want to spend time over there? He leaves his wife alone at home each night. Okay, so every night the husband goes to the club to play snooker and all, and he leaves his wife over there at night. And George is dazed and asks Cyril for confirmation. George, surprised, he asks his son that is it true? Do people call me by name? Okay, and he staggers as Cyril confirms it, and he is completely not able to believe because Cyril says yes. Okay. So Cyril tells his mother that it is not fair of her to hurt his or father's feelings. So Cyril tells the mother that it's not good to hurt the feelings of father or your children's feelings. So she remarks that it does people good to have their feelings hurt. Okay, so sometimes when the feelings are hurt, it is good for the people to realize the truth. Okay, that is what the mother says, Mrs. Pearson. And the truth won't to hurt anybody for long. So he says that the truth is not going to hurt anybody for long because that will show you the right direction. If he did not go to the club so often, perhaps people would stop laughing at him. And she also says that if because of today what I told him, he stops going to the club or he doesn't go to the club so very often, regularly, okay, people will stop calling him by all this name. So Cyril again doubts whether it is going to happen, and his mother tells him that he knows nothing. He spends a lot of time and money at greyhound races, dirt tracks and ice shows. And she also tells her son that you also waste lots of money and lots of time, okay, at the racehorse over there and dirty tracks and all those ice shows. You are also doing that. You don't know anything. And Mrs. Fitzgerald, okay, the neighbor, she comes at their door and Cyril calls her silly old bag. So the son calls the lady silly old bag, and Mrs. Pearson tells him to ask her in and address her properly. So now Mrs. Pearson again becomes very active and she tells Cyril, this is not a very good behavior. Okay, welcome her inside and ask sorry. And Mrs. Fitzgerald is shocked to see how Mrs. Pearson is treating her husband and children. Okay, Fitzgerald has become very soft. Okay, the same personality of Pearson. So she is surprised to see how she was treating, how Mrs. Pearson, the real Pearson, okay, was treating her husband, because now the real person is changed to the personality of Fitzgerald, but real person was treating her husband and children. So George re-enters and sits aside in armchair smoking his pipe. Now George doesn't go to the club, he sits over there. Mrs. Pearson takes George to task for being impolite. Okay, so she tells George that how can you be so impolite. George flares up as she rebukes him in the presence of the neighbor. Okay, so she was still insulting her husband, and he says that how can you, he is completely evoked, okay, when he is being rebuked in front of the neighbor, Mrs. Fitzgerald. He asks her if she has gone mad. Okay, who has gone mad? Pearson has gone mad, his wife has gone mad. And Mrs. Pearson threatens to slap his face if he says that again. Okay, so what? The lady says that if you tell me once again mad, I am going to slap you. And George is completely taken aback. She mockingly asks him to leave for the club, and she says, okay, go for the club. Okay, you want to go to the club, you love the club, go over there. Okay, and that is why she mocks at him. And the last one, all this was too much for Mrs. Fitzgerald. Now it was difficult for Fitzgerald to accept. She only wanted people to respect, but she didn't want her to create an atmosphere like this in her house. Okay, so with Mrs. Pearson's personality to bear, she requests Mrs. Fitzgerald for a reversal to the original state. So finally, she requests that let us come back to our original states. Okay, with the chanting of the magic spell, they regain their original personalities, and as a parting advice, Mrs. Fitzgerald asks Mrs. Pearson to be a strict with her looks and tone, sometimes to suggest that she might be touched with them, if sometimes gave her a hand with supper and play a nice game for Rummy. Okay. So again, what happens? Mrs. Fitzgerald, now the neighbor, after changing of the personalities, she tells that you should be strict sometimes. Okay, you should not be very ready to do everything every time. Okay, that is why people take you for granted. So sometime you should be tough with them if she wanted to. And this formula will work. So this formula is going to work. Be strict with your looks and tone. That is what is the advice for all the mothers. So Mrs. Pearson says that she wants them to stop at home. Sometimes give her a hand with supper and place a nice game of Rummy. So she says that I also want my family to be at home. Sometimes to help me in the kitchen and play together Rummy playing at night, the whole family. So Mrs. Fitzgerald is about to leave and she is glad to see Mrs. Pearson handling her family firmly. So now Mrs. Pearson has got a control over her family, and now the family keeps a track of her, starts loving her, respecting her job and everything. And the trick really works, and all the members of the family agree to do whatever the mother says. So this is a story, children, the Mother's Day. Yes, a very beautiful story. And for all of you children, do respect your mothers, do love her, and that is the main theme of the story. Okay, realize she is unpaid for all the work she does from morning till evening. Okay, so do respect her and love her. Thank you all. Thank you for watching. Love, share and subscribe. Thank you.